Okay, man. We could start the show already because
really?
I've been recording.
Okay, all right. Do we have enough banter?
I mean, it'll work itself.
Have we bantered enough?
I think people, sometimes they can go without it.
Should I keep talking about Simpsons?
No.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. Wasn't Be Real? I saw that the other day. Like Be
the
Real.
episode. Oh my God, the Homer Palooza.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite episodes of The Simpsons.
Now
that scene is one of my favorite scenes.
Okay, I got to see it again.
Okay.
But I have seen what I was assuming was a screen cap, and it's the Simpson Be Real, Send Dog, and I think it's Bobo.
Right. I have to tell you.
And then there's two, like, people claim that it's Sick Jackin'. Like, there's like a bald-headed, like,
now I gotta look that up.
Cholo-looking dude.
They could have just like designed also because it's cartoons.
Yeah,
they could have designed like, okay, make fourth Cholo. But that scene is one of the most glorious scenes in any Simpsons episode ever. Is Homer is on tour with Lollapalooza. There's all these bands and stuff, right?
Dinosaur Jr.
Right. At one point, he's like comes up, "Hi, Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins." He's like, "Hi, Homer Simpson, smiling politely." And so there's a scene where like one of the roadies walks into like the green room and says like, "All right, guys, who ordered the London Symphony Orchestra?" There's like silence.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, somebody here ordered the London Symphony Orchestra, possibly while high, Cypress Hill, I'm looking in your direction. And then Be Real's like, oh shit. He like goes over to Sin Dog and they start whispering to each other, like, and then they stop and they turn around and they say like, can you play? And I forget which song they say. And then, like, the lead of the London Symphony Orchestra says, like, well, I'm sure we can give it our best effort. And then they start playing the London Symphony Orchestra.
Insane in the Membrane,
I don't think it was Insane. No, it was another song. I do know it wasn't Insane in the Membrane.
Okay.
But that's one of my favorite scenes of any Simpsons ever.
Let's start the show.
Don't flush the toilet.
You are now tuned in to the Crappy Awesome Podcast.
Welcome to another highly animated episode of the Crappy Awesome Podcast. We are your hosts, the Diego Brown Project. I am Mr. Arash, even though nobody calls me Mr. And with me is Kilsire, even though we're just going to call him Chris.
Hey, yo.
I said we'll just call him Chris. We're just going to call him Chris.
I'm just going to point out every time you stumble from here on out.
I like that.
Because you use notes. And the old Arash that I knew that came from the streets, he never used notes.
I've been using notes for like 3 years.
No, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the gritty Arash.
I know.
You know?
I think it was more just hungover and lazy Arash.
I don't know, but that Arash had like some
pizzazz.
Yeah, some pizzazz.
Jazz hands.
Mm-hmm.
We're of course Spice.
Yeah.
That was my favorite porno channel when I was a kid.
Spice.
We're of course brought to you by Platform Collection. Make sure you ever go to platformcollection.com, not for your porn needs, but for your independent hip-hop needs, where there's all kinds of music videos and essays and music reviews, and that was pretty good, wasn't it? Good transition?
Yeah, I'll check in later on that.
Yeah, because I mostly want to look for
it was good, though. It was good, though.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I look for any excuse to bring up the idea of me masturbating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you blaze your own path.
Yeah. Blazing something.
Yeah.
While you're there, make sure you check out our sibling podcasts. There's Culture Sessions hosted by Melathion Archive, produced by Spark Beats.
Spark Beats.
The long-running and amazing 2Mex hologram podcast. Nothing?
Oh, I mean, it seemed like an abrupt.
Okay.
Like.
Okay. All right.
Our rhythm is off.
Yeah, it is.
Let's go. Bring it. Put it. Come on. Let's go.
Proof of Life Radio.
Yes.
Hosted by Kali. Also.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
And also Status Escalate, hosted by Kali.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. 2 shows, same guy. There's also Life on the Road with 60 East.
Yeah.
Really though? With Cookbook of LA and Symphony.
LA and Symphony?
LA Symphony.
Yeah.
I might need some water. The orchestrated with Noah James and Lisa J.
Yes, killing it.
Absolutely. The Ghetto Blaster podcast hosted by Ricochet.
Yes.
And, of course, you guys have to check out 2Mex Hologram Radio.
Radio.
Powered by Platform Collection? Is that the wording?
Yes, sir, it is.
Kind of like my Honda.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's not even the wording.
My 96 Honda Accord was powered by VTEC.
Yeah.
Which was like super rad at that time.
I had a VTEC.
I had stickers on the back of my car that said powered by Persian.
Yeah. Ooh. But you were in the racing thing for a minute, right? You dipped in and out really quick.
Yeah, very quickly.
You were only furious, not fast.
Exactly. Yeah. I had clear taillights.
Yeah.
About it.
Ooh, very nice.
It was basically like an excuse to get pulled over, and then the cops be like, "Yeah, you've got nothing on your car, but clear taillights."
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
2 Mix Hologram Radio, of course, is running 24 hours a day. There's all kinds of amazing music being played there. The Up, see, I said it right. It's a Kill C Race show, for example.
Yeah.
That suspiciously comes on Fridays. But it's not called the Friday Up. It's just called The Up.
Right. Good.
And it's like, for example, it's music to get up to get hyped to, that is also indie. It's not on the radio.
Yeah, I like to call it an alternative to fast food. It's very organic.
Is it like Chipotle?
It's like Chipotle. You know how like you could get excited to eat a cheeseburger? You're like,
yeah. But then I don't want to feel what I feel
good
afterwards.
After.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then sometimes you just get like a really dope fruit bowl that's fresh and it's like summer.
Is it like
and you can get hyped about that.
What's the organic burger chain? Burger Lounge.
Burger Lounge?
Yeah. So
I don't know, man. They don't pay our bills. It's like how you make hamburgers.
I don't. It's just, no, you do not want to.
No. Okay. I was trying to give you some
sorely mistaken
cooking props. Anyways, it's a good show.
We like
underground music for you to turn up to.
Yeah. Make sure you check that out. So that is on
Fridays.
Hologram Radio.
Yes.
That's on Fridays.
7:30.
That's yes.
Yep.
Yeah, there's all kinds of shows on there, choreographed and hosted and curated by many of the names that you are probably familiar with because you listen to this show. 2 Mix Hologram Radio. That's over at platformcollection.com as well. Of course, make sure to follow Platform Collection on Instagram. That is at Platform Collection, one word, all spelled out.
All spelled out.
And on Twitter.
All spelled out, yo.
Yeah.
That was like the LA way.
Way?
All spelled out way.
Oh, yeah, way. Right.
Yeah.
And on Twitter at Platform Collect. But
no shun.
Shout out to Tor Project, open source privacy platform that is doing something for us that I can't tell you about.
Yeah.
Learn more about Tor Project over at torproject.org.
They're being our friends. By the way, Tor Project, we got hacked.
Talks to us. What?
We got hacked. Platform Collection, one post got hacked.
Was it Russia?
No, it was the Ukraine. It said the Ukraine.
Fuckers.
And then it said something about death to ISIS.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we kind of.
But I mean, we're not. So I know that's what I'm saying.
They hacked.
We would have They could have just sent us a banner.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like if somebody was to hack my Facebook and share with the world that I have a big dick.
I don't know. One of our hacker friends helped us out here.
Yeah.
You don't want us to get hacked like that. Then you can't listen to this thing.
What good is Tor Project if we can't reach out to them for this?
Okay.
All right.
Are you throwing a challenge out to Tor Project?
Now we got beef.
Yeah, you're challenging them.
I don't know if
do some help.
Hackers, that's going to be really bad.
No, you're just asking them, yo, help out.
Lose this battle very quickly.
Help out.
All right, Tor Project, help us out.
Yeah,
we calling out to you. And of course, plug, but it's not shameless. Burner Podcast. That's hosted by yours truly. It is on burnerpodcast.com. Part of the Burner Podcast family, the longest running audio show covering the Burning Man community and culture. That is at burnerpodcast.com. Chris.
Yes.
Tell them about Stitcher and iTunes and all that crap.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spreaker, head on over to platformcollection.com where you'll find everything you need from all the things that Arash just talked about. We got videos. We got a bunch of podcasts. Look, it's popping. It's popping at Platform Collection. Yeah. Let's just be honest. Go over there, handle it. We got a guest on the show today.
Word.
His name is... Well, I'll let him introduce himself.
What's up, guys?
Even though I'm looking at your name everywhere in this room.
Doesn't have weird mids. I don't think your mids are weird.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's JROLZ.
Something that I gotta tell my door's locked up. This is something that I gotta tell my door's locked up. This is something that I gotta tell my door's locked up. This is something that I gotta tell my door's locked up. Hey, now, hey, now, hey, now, hey, now. Forgive me if I ever said I felt alone. Trying to keep busy, so forgive me if I forget it to rely on my phone. With the minutes of discussion, and we touching all the topics that been going on. He said nothing set in stone, be careful who you work with and hold your own. What the homie Mike told me, it's a different life, living in isolation. A greater potential method of gaining appreciation. Let inspiration bleed through my letters and my phone calls. I've been trying to tell my baby mama should have leave, but I let her. That she don't call, I've been thinking everybody seems so shady, and that's including my lady. I pray to God I let this better sin, I hope he can save me. Never needed their apology or their empathy, but as of now, I've been living off your energy. But as of now, I've been looking for the remedy. I'm looking down, cause the homies don't remember me. I lost too much, lost my touch, till all life sucks. Can't remember city living while I'm all tied up in my consequences. Just doing what I had to do, I face consequences. Things change since I've been here, I face consequences. They reconstruct the whole city, now I face consequences. Well, let me tell you, when you get up, many things evolve. No more fighting everybody till our problems are solved. Big brother shades a face of what our peer view look like. They adding more and more, so it still don't look right. Demolition is why me there's a recent account. Not them big white screens, but they took them all out. Went from here and make you slick on the
This is JROLZ, producer. What other things can we tack onto your name so people can understand?
Engineer at this point.
Engineer?
As well, for a team, and then also I've been more developing, like trying to do more sound design and stuff. So sound
gotcha.
designer as well.
All right.
Can you elaborate? I don't know what sound design is.
So basically creating.
Pull the mic up a little bit,
yeah,
sound designer.
We want to hear more.
See, I don't record. That's the one thing you don't put on my resume, but. Basically creating.
So if we have to record voices, don't go to JROLZ.
No, I can record people.
Hold up.
Wait a minute.
Hold up. It's that
triple
lighter.
action and the.
Yeah, it's that lighter that Rev has. So this is she got them from Mad Strange, right?
No, actually, that's from Walmart.
This is from Walmart?
Yeah.
Somebody sold Reverie this exact same lighter.
Yeah.
And they said it was like a custom-made type thing.
Really? That's $2.
Nice.
Well, you know what?
This is the nicest. It's a lighter case.
It is.
Case.
Yeah.
So.
It kind of looks like Italy. It looks like a boot.
It looks like a boot.
But you can open.
It's obviously for weed smoking.
Yeah.
It's obvious. It has no. It's not. It's to clear your pipe.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't open a
so you can
bottle
clear
with
pipe.
that?
No.
No, the bottom of it. The bottom of the boot.
Oh yeah.
That's a bottle opener.
It's a bottle
It's
opener.
basically a drug user's.
Yeah. These are all the things
You
that
got
you'll...
this at
For
Walmart?
tobacco smoking, it shows it on the picture when you buy it. So.
All right, stick with that.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks,
dope.
Walmart.
Anyways, go ahead.
All right.
Sound design.
Sound design.
So basically, just creating sounds at this point, trying to create and off of like a single tone, using like oscillators and stuff, and creating sounds, plucks, and chords and different things from the same tone. It's kind of interesting.
What sort of like customers would you have for sound design? Like where would a sound like that end up?
At this point, the only customer is myself. Like I'm the one who has the want to do it right now. Nobody's really come forward to me and asked for me to do any kind of like sound design, because really I just apply it to production,
right.
And making instrumentals and stuff. So, but yeah, I guess you could potentially utilize it in filmmaking and realistically anything. The Foley is kind of I believe it's the Foley effect, which is like where people get paid to create sounds, but
right.
That's another version for film. But this sound design is really creating something almost out of nothing, which is cool, because a lot of what production now is really sampling, and you already have presets and stuff where you can just dig into things. So at this point, I'm trying to get beyond that and create from the ground up.
From new sounds.
Hearing something out of my left. A lot of disruption. You hear that?
Are you hearing anything?
All right, it's just me.
I hear like a faint feedback from yours. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you move the mic away, like, maybe not.
I've never heard that before. It might be something in this room. Okay. Yeah.
It's the energy.
There's a lot of technology in here, because like
the energy.
We are sitting in JROLZ studio right now.
It's like a spaceship.
Yeah, I love the coloring in here.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like can we geek out here for just a second? So you have like dual monitors. You're working on looks like a PC.
Yeah, just a PC, an HP. So
just a PC.
It's modified, obviously, more than what it looks like.
Yeah,
but it's just a shell. It's an HP, I guess. The outside.
What's in it? What's like the?
I
what
got
are the guts in it?
I have a solid state in it. I also have a secondary hard drive, and then I have like 24 gigs of RAM.
Wow. So you could launch a missile.
Yeah, really. And what I've noticed from over the times of upgrading my computers is that RAM has really become a big part in producing. At least for your computer to run and be able to take on like big projects. And then the same thing with your drive.
Wait, it wasn't a big part before?
No, I just didn't think of it as being as big of a part as what it was to keep my computer from crashing.
Gotcha.
Because that was the beginning struggles. You know, for the first few years of doing this.
So wait, let's talk about that. Let's back up. What was the thing that led you to music production? Have you always been playing music your whole life?
Yeah. I grew up in a family, a bunch of musicians. So my mom was a singer. My dad plays guitar and plays piano. My brother plays guitar.
Okay.
And I had played the drums, or had started playing the drums at the time. And then I took a break for a long time.
And that was like what age?
I started playing when I was probably, I think it was like 8 or 9.
Was it by choice or by suggestion?
Yeah, by suggestion from my parents. My family was very artistic already, and they knew that my side of my brain was very math driven, so it was more analytical.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to take on more of something that was artistic and could allow my brain to grow.
Wait, so you've had conversations with them that's how like they thought it out?
Yeah. Well, they wanted like me and my brother to be well rounded in anything, so that way when we were out of high school, we had an opportunity to potentially take that somewhere else. Yeah. So we had a bunch of lanes that we could potentially go into.
What kind of that upbringing at the surface, a lot of people would be envious of that. Like, wow, my parents
I am envious of that
me.
right now.
Yeah, but I've noticed a trend of people who, because we've talked to a few people who've had kind of like an encouraging upbringing. Parents are kind of on board, at least with them choosing a path that they feel comfortable in. But what kind of kid did you feel like that made you? Like, how did that help your socializing? And
it made me very comfortable to know that my family accepted like anything I did, and also encouraged me to do other things outside of what was the norm potentially. Yeah. I felt accepting, and I'm very fortunate to have that kind of an upbringing. Because I know a lot of my friends didn't have that opportunity. Almost all my friends, their parents were divorced. Or
did you notice a difference in the way you and your friends would approach problems?
Yeah. I more civilized myself. My reaction. Although I did have my problems too. Like I threw a lot of temper tantrums when I was younger. Yeah. And I think a lot of that was just to rebel against maybe how good things potentially were for me.
Sure.
Right. The Matrix was too perfect.
Yeah. Something had to be wrong. You know what I mean? Something had to be off. And I was that.
Can we paint a picture of like sort of what your parents were like? So you said your mom was a singer. She was a professional singer?
No. It was more like a hobby. She loved singing. And my mother, for the longest time, actually was a banker for Bank of America. So she's always just been very artistic, and she was a painter, singer, and her brain, I think, operated as well in both sides of the spectrum. So she was very analytical. She was great with numbers.
Where did that come from?
My mother?
Yeah, because now we're talking another generation back. And were her parents like really?
No, because I don't even really know my grandfather on my mother's side.
Yeah,
he passed away a long time ago, and he really didn't. He didn't want to necessarily spend a lot of time with our family at the time. So yeah. So I think hers was just self-driven. She just really motivated herself, not having, I guess, what I had. So she wanted to give me everything. So yeah, she motivated herself to just learn and just, I guess, love life in a way, and that led her down the artistic path of thing, as well as she's a very intelligent woman.
Wow, there's a great story there somewhere, because for someone to get both sides of their brain working like that at such a high level, you know what I mean?
And then your dad,
because she's a banker and she likes to sing. Like,
it's a good flow. And your dad, you said.
My dad is an engineer, and then he's also artistic as well, art as far as drawing, and he's a great drawer, and he's also a great pianist and really good at guitar too. He hasn't played the guitar in a while, but he plays the piano. You can definitely sit down at any point and just start playing, which is kind of cool. And I grew up with that too, so that was a nice balance.
They generally happy people? Did you feel like they were happy people?
Yeah. My parents did a really good job at not exposing my brother and myself to any kind of issues, any issues between themselves, or any issues that they had at work. They really tried to protect us from those. Knowing that society, we would obviously see that, but within our home, they wanted to make sure that it was
the safe place.
The safe place, yeah, exactly.
Your brother younger or
older? Older by
How much older?
5 years.
Okay.
So,
Okay, well, what's he like?
he is very much a leader and outgoing, and nowadays he is. My brother's someone who I've always kind of looked up to. And sorry about my dog right now, Roscoe.
Yeah, it's not the first time on the show.
Yeah. It's funny too because I was going to say that he doesn't bark that often, but back to the story though. Yeah, so my brother is very much outgoing and comedic and an amazing artist as well. Naturally self-taught. He's always been able to visualize things, see things, and then put it to paper and sculpt and do all these other things without needing any kind of professional training. So
what's his medium?
Just visual art, right?
Visual art, right? Yeah. Well, actually, he's a photographer now, a videographer, so it's kind of carried into that. He shoots a lot of weddings and stuff like that. So
it's interesting. I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and I've recently started to like get into DJing. And I was wondering, like, I was hanging out with a friend recently, and she was like, "That seems to be a common pattern. People like move from photography to DJing," and she's noticed that a bunch of times. I'm like, that's interesting. I wonder why that is. And when I was talking to this other producer, he's saying it's because we're interested in waves. You're basically moving from like light waves to sound waves, but it's still waves.
Huh.
Well, that's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's some truth to that. But it's interesting that your brother is like in that field and you're in sound waves.
It's possible.
But you guys are also, the family in general seems to be very like mathematically minded and engineeringly minded.
Yeah. Everything is always about a system, kind of checklists and planning and that was the one thing growing up, that there was always a plan. We always had something to do at a certain time. And my father was in the military as well, so that was a kind of like
regiment.
Yeah, exactly. So
was he strict?
To a point, me and my father have an amazing relationship. So if I couldn't get anything from my mom, I would always go to my dad. So, because my dad would always give in for me.
It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, my dad he's a big guy, and he's from exterior maybe kind of intimidating because he's 6 foot, just big and built. Sorry, I lost track for a second. I kind of zoned out for a second.
Very often
I go on these like sporadic,
Your
like
dad, he was big man, intimidating,
but also was the one that caved in.
Yeah. So I could always go to my father for pretty much like anything. And he always gave me, the shirt off his back. Again, my father was someone who always wanted to give us something that he wasn't able to maybe get, but he grew up as well. My grandparents were amazing people on my father's side.
So at the time, say your family suggests, the drumming, you start taking up drumming. Are you in a place where you're already listening to your own music, or are you just kind of being influenced by what's being played in the house? Like, where are you at?
The main reason why is because Lenny Kravitz had come out about the time when I was that young.
Wait, Lenny Kravitz came out?
Not out of the closet, but ventured into his
Lenny Kravitz has
his music career.
God, don't speak about him like that.
I still have the CD too, the first CD from him. And it really, like, the drumming on it was easy enough for me to understand. Yeah. And it made me want to venture into that.
Why that, though? Why did you pick the drums?
I think I had a lot of aggression as a child. Like, I don't know why, but I just wanted to it was a really good release. I could just bang on the drums and it allowed me to kind of release all the tension that I had and aggression that I had towards anybody for some reason. I don't really know still, because like I said, I had such a good upbringing.
Yeah, I think that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier, and it does kind of play itself out through the story. Like people who do grow up in situations like that, because what people will say is they'll look at his situation and go, "Oh, he had it easy," and the reality is that also that environment also fosters a lack of dealing with the normal lows that anybody could hit for any reason. You could have a chemical imbalance. You could do whatever. It doesn't matter what environment you're in. Occasionally you're going to have lows. And maybe that was your only release. I can't imagine, because nobody goes through their entire lives with no lows. Right. It just doesn't happen. It may not be as visible as it is with other people who maybe have consistent lows and they're always showing them to you. Someone without will have to look other places.
Let me ask you this. because you alluded multiple times to like the problems that your parents had. They just like were really good about not like laying it out for you guys.
Yeah.
But there were some problems there.
Yeah, I mean, occasional issues would arise, but
obviously, I don't want to, we don't want to publicly dissect all of your family. But just like it's interesting, the thought that I had is that you were saying that they made it a point to like not lay it on you guys, which is what good people do, by the way. Like that's like that's a kind thing to do. It's a compassionate thing to do with your parents. My parents were the opposite. Like, I mean, I saw the whole train wreck.
Yeah.
But I was reading recently about how they found that, like, what they find to be an ideal scenario is when the problems are openly communicated and then you deal with them in a healthy manner so that people can see, so the kids can see, oh, this is how you deal with the problem.
Right.
So
Too much sheltering produces issues as well.
Right. Well, like where I think that's where that aggression for you might have come from, which is like some part of you was like, why aren't you fucking telling me what's going on? I'm going to bang on these drums all day, which is fine. I mean, every single one of us is a product of the traumas of our childhood, which makes us the special, awesome people that we are.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a firm believer that the happiest person left to their own demise will find a way to get sad or mad,
right?
Whether or not anything affects them physically. So, I think it's just part of our nature.
Totally. No, and all the things that we go through contribute. We are not who we are today in spite of those things. We are who we are today because of those things.
Absolutely.
So even with you, like maybe the linear pattern that you were on to get you to where you are today as a producer and an artist started with you banging on the drums, and you wouldn't be this person had that experience not happen with your parents and had these family upbringing and have this environment and started with the drums.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that where my mind goes artistically is you're going to just a little bit I know about you, right? If they just put that on paper. So far from what I can deduct from that is that this person's probably going to be able to be around what I know and what I'm familiar with as rappers because, one, he's also attracted to the way they are able to be so expressive.
He understands
Yeah, he understands it. Yeah. He's also going to be able to be an anchor in the room because he's probably not going to let that his EQ is high as well.
Right.
So the emotions are going to be leveled out. Which makes you a great engineer, makes a great person on the boards, which makes somebody of value within a group of people that are trying to make music for sure.
Because you got all this crazy in the room, and you're like, I'm not going to let this faze me.
Yeah.
And there's usually a lot of crazy.
Yeah, the person, the person behind the boards, the best thing they can do is be like a catcher on the baseball field. You know what I mean? They're the guy who brings it all together. They're calling the shots. You know what I mean? Like. They're suggesting stuff, it's
taking criticism too.
Yeah,
is a big thing, so
it would be obvious to me that you'd probably be pretty good with that.
Yeah, I can handle criticism very well now at this point in my life.
Yeah,
and I can handle balancing a lot of things at once.
Yeah,
I think, and that was a big part of my upbringing. So It's been interesting though, because like sometimes there's certain things I want to do while working, but obviously I have to be in the mentality. Okay, this isn't this is my studio. This is definitely my studio, but right now it's being used by someone else, and it's not necessarily in my use. So I need to think like them and allow them to make suggestions and allow them to do what they're doing because it gets them to that place maybe artistically. Yeah. Because the last thing you want is that bad vibe when you're working with someone. That tension or that weirdness. So.
Do you well, let's go back to sort of like where you kind of got started in all this. So you started out with drums, and then what came next? At what point did the actual production stuff start to get introduced?
So it went drums and then partying right after that. I played the drums for like 7 years. Then I moved.
You were in bands?
Yeah, I was in marching. Oh, I had kind of started doing marching band and
nerd.
Yeah, but that's what my friends were saying at the time, so that caused me not to be in marching band then quickly after. So I was in it for a short period of time and
you caved
in.
Those bastards.
And I think that's a part of like because I'm the second child, I'm the youngest. I grew up always admiring people and wanting to fit in and wanting to fit in with my brother and wanting him to accept me. So it was kind of the same thing in school.
Yeah.
But so marching band did that. Stopped after a while and started hanging out, trying to be more social.
What does that mean?
I
That's
was
always a weird time.
Yeah.
every day.
Well, I was always kind of like the weird kid in school. So I used to live back east in Pennsylvania, actually, and
Wait, you were always?
Yeah. Well,
From a young age?
a young age, yeah, I got picked on quite a bit, and I was always the new kid at the school too, because I moved around quite a bit. My father,
Military brat.
Yeah. Well, outside of the military too, my dad kind of exchanged jobs a lot and kind of built up his resume.
Yeah.
We kind of constantly moved. He almost did like contract work where he rebuilt companies, but it's getting off topic. But so yeah, I kind of got picked on a lot in school. And when I was 17, we moved back to California. I had made a conscious decision in my head that, you know what, I'm done with this. I just want to fit in. I want to have friends. So that was really like, I didn't care anymore. Like I wanted to rebel even more so. Mm-hmm. And if it took, you know, doing illegal things or you know, doing things that put me in bad situations, I didn't care anymore because I just wanted to have friends, and that's so sad.
And this is what age?
That was at 17. So.
Okay, so let's go back to like 14, 15,
okay.
Right? Really important time in, you know, a young man's life. Because you defined yourself as the weird kid. So I'm assuming you had heard that. What was, if you could look at yourself, if you could be one of these people who was obviously judging you way too early, why were you the weird kid? What was it that made you the weird kid?
Because I wasn't always like fitting in with any one group. I fit in with everybody. I tried to, but then at the same time, people didn't necessarily like that. I feel like when they saw me hanging out with other groups, then I instantly was ostracized from them, kind of a thing. So I was on like I played sports growing up.
Lack of committal.
Yeah, I played baseball my whole life growing up, and you know, when those guys found out I did like sports or I did music, you know, for marching band and stuff like that, it was the exact like, oh no, make fun of him now because he's doing this other thing. But I was amazing baseball.
Were you playing sports though?
Yeah, and I was on their team, and that was the fucked up part. Like on the field,
it's bizarre.
Well, I was recognized, and I was, you know, I was given my stripes, kind of a thing on the field. So I was so good, but off the field, it was a completely different ball game.
Weird.
It's you know, a cliche to say that, but it was completely different.
Well, I'm sure at some point, and this probably goes back to the being picked on and being bullied. At some point, the bullies will realize, like, if you don't slap the bully will just know I could just do whatever. Like, at some point, they knew, like, well, he's not going to stop playing good.
Yeah.
Like, he's playing good because he's good. He's got some other reason to play good, which he did. You were just trying to play good. Yeah. You were trying to excel. And they probably saw that as, like, well, we don't even have to treat him nice.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to play good no matter what. Which probably, some of them, it probably angered some of them. You know what I mean? Because why isn't this breaking his playing? Yeah. You know?
Well, they needed you to not play good.
Yeah.
Because then that would validate themselves.
Yeah.
No, you've stepped out of what I say is the thing that everybody's supposed to be doing, and this is making me questioning myself.
Man. So, okay, are you, at that time, are you angry? Like, do you feel angry?
Yeah, I think inside I felt alone, even though I had such a strong family, a strong home.
Sure.
I felt alone because, you know, sometimes you need that external friendship to vent to. And
well, you weren't being allowed to carve out your own life. You were a part of, like, there's a very important time when you step away from the family and you're no longer a part of just the family unit that defines you.
You have to find your tribe.
Yeah, you have to find your tribe, and they weren't allowing that to happen.
Yeah, so I was walking solo for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, 17. You're at the end of high school, I assume.
Correct. Yeah, senior year, I moved back to California.
Are you itching to get high school over with? Are you like, I'm done with this? Like, I want to get out of here? Are you excited for the next chapter, or are you like scared shitless?
I think I was scared because it was another new school.
Yeah.
And especially my senior year going in there, you know, making friends is hard enough.
You didn't see any
in your freshman year,
like teen movies growing up. You know, you can reinvent yourself.
Yeah,
you pay the hot
I did
chicks.
though, and that's what happened.
Gangster.
Yeah,
and that's what I said. I recognized what I needed to do to have friends.
Yeah,
and so I put that into effect as soon as I moved back out. I linked up with my brother. My brother took me, went clothes shopping.
Yeah.
It completely changed my wardrobe and how I was dressing. And because my brother has always been hip and urban, and like into like staying current with things. And so he got me looking fresh. I was
did
looking
you
good.
tell him? Like, was there a conversation that had happened? Like, dude, I need you.
I want, yeah. And
Yeah?
so he took me out. I was like, it wasn't necessarily I told him everything, but I told him, hey, like, I want to look good. I want to feel
I'm
like
sure
really
he
cool.
got it, right?
Yeah, he
like,
probably knew that.
He's been knowing what's happened.
Senior year, he
Yeah.
wants to just,
Been walking around like, God, my little brother's such a freaking nerd. Oh, thank God, he came and asked me for help. Oh, God.
Is that you locked in your locker again?
Yeah, you threw me in here.
Yeah, so he hooked me up. He gave me some knowledge and kicked me some knowledge on fashion at a young age. And it was back then. It was Dickie pants, and you know what I mean, and skate shirts, and Osiris shoes, and
Oh wow, okay. So that took you into a direction now, right? Because now the people that are acknowledging you, they're a group as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And you felt this is where I fit in.
Yeah. At the time, I think I just felt like I fit in because people were accepting me. Finally.
Yeah.
You
were just, I'll take what I could get.
Yeah. Anything, and whether accepting was because of what I was wearing, I didn't care. I was excited. I finally have people I can hang out with now outside of school. So.
Wait, so in retrospect, though, right? You look back at that time and the people around you at that time. I mean, you're an adult now. You're obviously in a place where you're very honest about the way you see things happening, and it's all reasonable. Do you look back and go like, they didn't like me, or do you look back now and go like, oh, I should have been doing this I was just being myself, and they liked that? Did they ever really get to know you?
Yeah, because the clothes were just the exterior. I still acted the same. Like that was the thing. Like I didn't really once I became comfortable with them, I acted myself, and that was the cool thing. Because I was
and now
already.
he was mysterious.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I could
weird how
reinvent
that
myself.
Well, I would imagine with any social circle, you can be like one step out and but you have to have something familiar about you. So either you're going to act kind of like the way that they're familiar with, or you're going to dress the way they're familiar with.
You just need something
you can't
to break.
do both.
You just need one single to break.
Yeah. Move forward. So so you found yourself socializing. You're finally feeling more comfortable having friends. When do you get back into music?
Not until after my party years.
Yeah. Talk about this because you threw it out there as if it was a big detour.
It was a huge detour in my life.
Okay, and I want people to know this who might not know, because the voice they're hearing, are you sleeved up on both sides, or
just the sleeve? My chest and stomach is done.
So he's tattooed up.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the job you do, your side hustle to pay the work is a skilled position.
Yeah.
You're obviously a very intelligent dude. Is there something had to have happened during a certain point in your life where the rebel got turned all the way up, right?
Yeah.
Was that these party years?
Yeah. That was. I did a lot of bad things between the ages of 17 to 22, 23,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Do you remember the point of when you were like, I'm all in?
Like,
with
fuck
this?
it.
Yeah.
The gaff. Like, I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. Yeah.
Really?
It was pretty much, I remember, yeah. Yeah, because I remember the exact point. It was when I moved back. My mind was just done. I was done with dealing with bullying, and it really had taken a toll, because that was back when social media wasn't around, you know, and we didn't have cell phones. Nobody had a cell phone in my school.
Right.
You know, so bullying wasn't as exposed as it is now, you know, as what a lot of people think it is. And it's true, like, bullying played such a detrimental role in my upbringing and who I am, and created kind of who I am now, because I'm so much stronger than what I was before.
Right.
It really, you know, those downfalls really built me to be what I am.
Wait, what was your low point?
My low point?
Yeah.
I think it was when I went to jail.
Yeah.
When I was 19.
For what? Can you talk about
grand theft.
Yeah. Car?
Like $50,000 motor in it. So for a sand rail.
What?
For a what?
It was a motor for a sand rail. A sand rail is like a dune buggy to an extreme, but it was a V8 that was souped up, and it was all chromed out, and the guy had left for the weekend and left it on his porch, and so we cased it and pretty much tried to take it. Yeah. Wow. Got caught.
That is quite a feat to try on your first grand theft.
That was it.
That's
Go
still
big or
a
go
motor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we had the chassis. That was the thing. So we had the chassis, and we saw the perfect opportunity to do something, but it wasn't so perfect, obviously. And in that time, we thought it was perfect. You know?
So, I mean, I'm thinking there's a big leap from I'm just the nice kid that wants to get liked to I'm ready to rob somebody. What the fuck happened between that period? Like, what was it? Drugs? Was it? I mean, what was going on?
My first car was stolen from me. And that kind of felt that, like, people could just take whatever they wanted.
That broke you, right?
Yeah. And it really affected me mentally, more than what I think my family knew or anything.
Yeah.
Because I worked so hard for that car, and I had such a crazy system and custom interior on it.
Yeah.
I had put so much money and so much time into that. It was like my everything at the time.
It's probably part of what defined you at the time.
It did. Yeah, it did. Because everybody knew me by my car, too. And that was the other thing. And that was like...
It was a crutch.
Yeah, it was. It was. All my friends were my friends. I feel like some of my friends were my friends because of the car. You know? And I was one of the only ones who had wheels and ride to take us to the beach and take us to, you know, go party and take us wherever we wanted to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when that got taken from me,
default friend.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, and that upbringing, I was okay with it at that time. So it caused me a lot of pain though when I lost it. And it's crazy. It was like a relationship, you know. And when I lost it, it was like I lost everything. And
you felt like people didn't really feel sympathetic or empathetic with it.
Yeah. No one. I felt like understood, like how much that does affect you.
Yeah. And how could they?
Yeah. And I also felt like people don't value anything. If someone's just willing to take my car, no one values anything. So if you want it, you can take it. That's how my mentality was then at that point. I was like, okay, fuck it, let's do this.
Yeah. So that was the point.
Yeah.
And you obviously met some people who were down to feed into the behavior, right?
Yeah, I had some bad influences.
Yeah.
One of my friends, and I shouldn't say he was a bad influence either. I think we were bad influences together.
Yeah,
we fed off of each other and what we did.
What was his source of anger or anxiety that was pushing him?
His family. His parents were split. And he had issues with his father and with his mom and stuff. So his mom, though, seemed like loving on the outside. He told me he had issues as well at home and stuff. So that drove him to be as rebellious as he was. So
were you using anything? Drugs, alcohol? Anything in excess?
I popped a lot of pills when I was younger. That was the fad. You know,
pop a pill.
This is, I guess, in like 200005. So like back at that point, it wasn't just like pills like Molly's or anything. This was like prescription, because that's what kids got at that point was prescription pills. You know, Molly, you didn't even think about that stuff.
What part of California were you in?
It was Rancho Cucamonga, actually. So I lived in Ontario, technically. Well, I lived on like the borderline. We were in Rancho, but I had to go to Ontario high school.
Rancho Cucamonga pops off, man.
Yeah, it comes up a lot in podcasts.
Like low key pops
prescription
off.
is a big thing out there because the kids are so wealthy. And It's crazy. Yeah.
You know, before next Friday, I didn't know it was a real series.
Yeah, you thought it was fake.
Yeah, I thought it was like a made up thing just for a movie.
Yeah, now when I watch that, I'm like, hey, I live there.
Put you guys on the map.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, so
Parents have to come get you out of jail, I'm assuming?
Yeah, my grandfather too, and that was like my second dad. And
Oh, wow.
it was very hard on me.
I mean, were there things that led up to this that they were like, okay, we knew this was coming, or was it just complete shock?
It was complete shock for them.
Oh my God.
I hid a lot of my partying life away from them.
Yeah.
And kind of like my problems, I kind of tucked away from them because I didn't want them to, first of all, I didn't want them to be mad at me. I didn't want them to reprimand me.
Yeah.
Second of all, like I thought I was a man. I was, 18, 19. I thought I don't need to tell anybody anything. This is my life. You don't tell me. I was in that, I'm a man stage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me how denial rolls like really cleanly into like the ego telling you like, man, I got this. Yeah. Like I got it handled. It goes from denial to like I have total control of what's going on. But it's just dishonesty. That's what's really, really happening is you're becoming more and more okay with the dishonesty and the fake world that you're creating because you went from I'm almost ashamed to, well, now as long as I just don't tell everybody everything, and you basically started building a wall of actions. Like, here's all these actions I do, and if I build this wall of actions, nobody really sees what's happening here or how I got hurt, about these different things. So, wait, you get out of jail. Is this, I'm sure there's court stuff, and that probably lasts for a while, right?
No, actually, I was very fortunate.
Did they drop the charges?
Yeah.
Wow.
The guy decided to drop everything because he didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So he dropped all the charges. It was an older guy. He just didn't want to, I guess, deal with the hassle. Because they caught us before we could steal it, so nothing got technically stolen from him.
So was the lesson learned, you felt, at that time, or not yet?
No, because that was 19 for me. And
and you got away with it.
And I got away with it, exactly. I didn't learn from it at all. Because it's so immature of me, but at the time, like, I told the cop I was going to get away and, like, that I wasn't going to get caught for anything because I didn't do anything kind of a thing, And I was playing the role of I didn't do anything, but at the same time, I was being cocky and stuff like that. And then I got away with it, and I was like, yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
In my head, I felt horrible because I felt like I let my parents down and I let my grandfather down and my family down, and that ate me.
Yeah, because now they know you've been lying this whole time.
Exactly. So things just started unraveling and coming out. And they want to know about my drinking, about my, my potential issues if I'm smoking weed or have drug issues or using, because unfortunately my brother as well had issues with that. So
it's the weed that made you do it.
Yeah, obviously. I reflect now, and that's not even the case. But my parents are the kind of people I feel like at that time maybe they thought that. Now they're not thinking that because it's become more of a social thing. But at that time, things were different, It was so looked down upon, especially in a, and I'll say it, a privileged white community. It's very looked down upon. So,
because I would think, and some of the listeners are probably listening to this too, and this is something that it's really important for me that people understand that the differences between everybody's struggle and that struggle does exist for everybody. Yeah, and because I'm sure there's people listening to this going like, what? Yeah, she's mad because you fucked up a perfectly good thing. Like, why would you fuck something up? But you're also dealing with a person who on the outside looks like everything's put together, but you were obviously broken. Yeah. I mean, for you to have such an emotional shift to the point where you got out of jail and you were like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. You know what I mean? What started to change the behavior? When did it start to, like, settle down for you? And what happened? Why?
I started seeing just experiences over the years from partying of like what was happening to my friends, and like 10 of my friends have DUIs and multiple DUIs at that, and they're knocking people up left and right. We were just completely like
all the bad young people shit you can do.
Yeah, literally anything bad, like partying wise, like we could do, we did, at that time, and it became a problem because I became an alcoholic, and that took over my life then as well. And
How often were you drinking?
every day.
Every day.
Yeah, every day. But it was socially. I couldn't drink on my own, but I wanted to drink socially every day.
Right.
So it went from weekends,
It was another ticket into this world where you were accepted.
Yeah, it went from weekends to weekdays, or to like 4 times a week to screw it. Let's just party every night. Like, let's just start doing this. And my buddy had a house. Our buddies had a house, and there was like 30 of us that would party together. Like, we were the it group up in the high desert that everybody wanted to hang out with and stuff too. So,
man.
And then I felt more accepted because I was in this cool group. And this is a different group of friends besides the one who got me into trouble.
Yeah.
So this is another group of bad friends.
Graduated up.
Yeah, exactly. And I started transitioning though and realizing, okay, I need to grow up because of what the decisions that they were making. And I was starting to rise. I had gotten my first job at an engineering company, but then I started fucking it up because of all the partying I was doing. And it eventually led to me losing that job.
How so? How so were you fucking it up?
Well, they allowed me because of I was going to school. They allowed me to make my schedule as open as possible.
By the way, listen.
Quoties. I did quoties because I wasn't obviously doing school all the time. A majority of what I was doing was partying, and I would come in at 6 o'clock when everybody had already left and work till like 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning, and then go party.
Wow.
And it became this vicious cycle to where they finally sat down with me and just said, they just said that they were cutting people go because they were in this because it's right when the crash was happening too. Right. So they said they were just letting people go. So I think they just kind of didn't want to tell me the reality of why they were letting me go.
Yeah, that's a primary reason. Like, a lot of times when people get let go, it's a nice way of putting it. They always get really fixated on the actual reason that they were given, but we've all had this experience. Most oftentimes it's led up to it due to a bunch of different politics and situations and things that you've been doing for a while that you may have been fucking up on. And eventually they're like, you don't get fired for that one time you're late. You get fired from the 27 times you're late over the course of the past 3 years.
Or the supervisor's been hating you for a long time.
Yeah, now he has something out for you.
Now he's got something.
Either way, you're not getting fired for that one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's okay. So
is music happening at all at this point, or you're still partying?
Listening, intaking a lot of music. I had become a very big metal fan. In fact, part of our group was in a band, a pretty successul metal band at the time.
Yeah. You weren't drumming.
I wasn't. I was
weird because that feels like that would be a thing that would get you pretty socially accepted. You get more drugs than girls that way.
I wanted to, but at the time we were living at our house, my drum set was already broken down. I didn't want to go through the hassle because I was drinking all the time. I didn't want to go through the hassle of putting together. Also, I didn't want to go through the hassle of practicing again and trying to get back into it because I was having so much fun.
Yeah, you're like, you don't even need it right now.
Yeah.
Being a drummer is a pain in the ass. All the guitarist and the singer gets to just lock their shit up and go and start drinking.
Yeah, drummers always last on stage, first one there.
It sucks.
But it's a horrible thing putting that thing together and taking it down every time. And lugging it around and trying to find someone to help you too. Like, hey, can you carry this for me?
Okay, wait. So you
get fired.
Yeah, luckily wait. So on your own, you just kind of said, okay, this is starting to get bad.
Yeah.
I guess you were always kind of just observing it, right? Like you were like.
I felt like I was more of a puppet.
Yeah.
I felt like I was more of a social puppet. Like I was there for people to kind of to use me in a way, to utilize my car, utilize, my, I guess, because I had a little bit of financial stability at that time because I was working a better job than my buddies were working at, the grocery store.
Yeah. Right.
No disrespect to that because I was a cashier at a grocery store.
Yeah, across the board, you were doing better than most.
Yeah.
So
you were the one-eyed man in the land of the blind.
But I just wanted them to accept me, so I was cool with it, with what they were doing.
It was even trade to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, across the board, things were even, 50-50.
So your emotional investment wasn't so much in if you backed out, you weren't going to be like, oh my God, you knew how to do this now, right?
Yeah.
Like you knew how to.
Well, because I moved so much, I knew how to separate from people and not be offended and not be upset about it.
Yeah.
Like people, this is life. Unfortunately, it just happens. You're not going to see your friends forever.
Yeah.
Whether it's health that takes takes that away from you, or just their busy schedule, because that's what happens,
Right. Yeah.
We've all grown to the point where it's like we can't hang out. Like what happened yesterday with me and you. I invited you last minute to something, and obviously I knew the likeliness of that even happening.
Record release. Shout out to Danny Hollow, by the way.
Yeah. I knew in my head the likeliness of you being able to go was probably pretty slim. Because that's how it is. Like, we all have schedules now.
Yeah.
So, and we all have to keep those schedules if we want to keep our sanity, and we want to,
So with the group of people that you were hanging out with, I mean, did they miss you even when you left? Did you feel like they missed you, or were they just like,
there's a few that I have, like, we follow each other and occasionally we'll like talk, but for the most part, no. I feel like they're just going along the same road.
So I have a clarification here. So when you got fired, you decided, all right, I'm stepping away from this group.
Yeah, it was about that time, and it was about the same time where my girlfriend and I had broken up. My ex-girlfriend and I had broken up, and I was really hurt about that too.
You're in a dumpy place.
Yeah, just because of that's unfortunately how we feel after.
There's a bunch of shit happening.
Yeah. So I felt like I was losing everything at that point. And,
did you always have a girlfriend?
I've always been like the person who wants to be in a relationship.
Yeah,
and was kind of always trying to look for that one. And I love being in a relationship because I feel comfortable. I feel like I can be myself.
Yeah, some people function really well in a relationship.
Well, you did have good relationship role models.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very important.
That's actually a conversation me and my girlfriend talk about all the time now, because her parents are together as well.
And wow.
we think that the reason why we work so well together is because we both had that fortunate upbringing.
Frame of reference,
I keep using upbringing.
So music, let's get into it. When does the music come in?
The music comes in back in when I was like 23. I lived in a house in Garden Grove, and it was an extension through a friend who had told me about Fruity Loops FL Studio now. He told me to download it because he knew I drummed back in the day, and I loved hip-hop music already at the time. And so I downloaded it and took off. And that was realistically, like, that was the beginning of everything, because as soon as I opened the program, like, I felt like I needed to learn this. I needed to master it. And what was cool is I used computer programs in my outside job as well. So
the language wasn't foreign.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was very, very easy for me.
Immediately took over the excitement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did the high feel like a party high, basically, like when you're putting together a beat?
Yeah. Especially the first time, maybe not in the beginning so much, but the first time that someone complimented me on what I was doing, that initially made such a high. Yeah. Like that was such an accepting feeling. Like I wanted that every time then. So that made me want to keep striving for it. And I had a really good friend who kind of motivated me, and I felt like lied to me a lot in the beginning to get me to just, because he knew that if I caught on to it, I would take off.
Yeah.
So he motivated me and just kind of lied and said that I was better than what I was at the time, just to keep me progressing. I feel like
shout out to who was it? Who's that guy?
It's Fluent, actually. You know,
Rhythm.
Yeah.
Shout out to Fluent Rhythm for doing that.
He knew you needed positive reinforcement.
Yeah. So he actually was a very positive guy in those times.
Yeah. Are you just like making beats? Like, how does that process work? Because this is the part where like you've got the engineering mathematical mind, right? But then there's also the artistic side, which is, my experience at least, has been about letting go of math and just letting the intuition take control. So how does that process work for you? Were you just like sitting down and start putting together some melodies, like playing random keys, see what happens?
A lot in the beginning was learning the program more than anything. As far as music, I really was just sporadic, like to me, just going at it and just trying to learn what sounds good. Right. Because I watched a lot of tutorials and a lot of interviews of bigger producers, and they always just talk about if it sounds good sonically, run with it. Music is accepting, because you don't have to play exactly a chord to make something sound good. If it sounds good and it may not be an exact chord, it doesn't mean that it's wrong, because it sounds good.
Yeah.
Why not just make something from it?
How can you tell when it sounds good?
Based off of referencing so much other music and just I go off of my intuition of what I think sounds good to me, and it's worked out at this point.
Your own palette.
Yeah. And I've kind of
but you've done a lot of homework over the years without realizing you've been training for this already.
And that's what I was going to say. I've kind of developed my own palette. I've come up with my own color scheme, my own my own thought processes of what what sounds good to me versus what doesn't, and what I vibe with. Because it takes, like, I've been doing a lot of sampling lately, and it takes like a certain sample to catch me, and then as soon as it catches me, I just go, and I take off, and it's kind of, I get in that like Zen mode, where things kind of are hazy, but I'm making stuff,
right,
and it doesn't help obviously with the
weed,
with that as well. So, I get into this very relaxed, comfortable just state of mind. And I think that also pushes me to want to do it more and more, because it's that like,
it's your meditation station.
Exactly, yeah. And it's become that, and I didn't realize it in the beginning until I kind of sat back and looked at myself after a few years and was like, wow, like anytime that there's maybe something going wrong in my life, as soon as I sit down and start playing, like I wash it away from my head, and then I have a clear thought of mind after.
Yeah.
Just by expressing it, and it comes out emotionally in my music at times.
So at the beginning, you're learning the process of beat making. Are you working all just off of the computer keyboard, or do you actually have a controller?
No. So I started with the keyboard.
Okay.
Just the typing keyboard, computer keyboard. Because the Fruity Loops has the MIDI translation to your keyboard.
Right. Who I think, for people who may remember, Curtis King notoriously
Famously
still uses that from time to time.
Yeah. Like I'll constantly, like, I'll stumble across my keyboard sometimes like, on accident, and I'll hear it like start playing things, and I'll mess around with my typing keyboard to try and see if I can come up with something just random. But
that's how you started.
That's how I started. Yeah, on an all-in-one Lenovo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God. It was you can't upgrade it. You can't do anything to it.
When did you go, I've made a beat. This is a beat. This is something that somebody could rap on or sing on.
I made this.
I know this is a beat.
That wasn't until I like linked up like in the past few years with like things like Desi is really when I started, like, because I had friends like rapping over my stuff, but I was never comfortable with my sound. I wasn't never like okay with what I was producing yet. Until like Desi started working with me, Desi Hollow. That was when my creative, I feel like, because his creative energy is really high, that it kind of forced me to have a really high creative energy as well. So it allowed me to really take off, and I've heard you say this before, find that flow state and just start producing, literally, like, producing track after track, and not maybe concentrating so much on the technical aspect of it first, and just really just letting my mind and body just kind of work together and just.
Yeah. I mean, and Desi was, I'm assuming at the time, because you said it was a few years back, right?
Yeah, it was right after he had just dropped Soul Food.
Okay,
just dropped Soul Food.
And he's getting attention at that time. He's starting to get attention. At the very least, in the San Diego County area, people know of Desi. He's been there. What got you to starting to work with him, and how did that relationship build? Because were you like actively seeking artists out?
No, at the time I just had like a small niche group because I was producing for Wake the Fuck Up.
The
other podcast. And I had moved down here, and I had gotten in connections with George from the Cypher Effect through another friend, Thesis.
Yes. Shout out to Thesis.
Yeah, he linked me up with George because he liked my stuff, and so George reached out to me, and George sent me 3 videos. And one of the videos happened to be Desi's, because I didn't know, about him. I honestly, I didn't know too much about Oceanside hip hop yet at that point, because I was such a hermit crab in here.
Yeah,
I wasn't really venturing out, and I saw the video of Desi's, and it kind of just, I was like, okay, he's next door to me.
Yeah.
2, he's talented, super talented, and he has an ability to potentially take this to something else.
Yeah.
So
you could see the packaging was already coming together.
Exactly. I noticed at that point that it was smart of me. And really humble and just a nice guy. And I knew at that time it was smart of me to link up and just try to potentially work with him and not necessarily in a bad way, but clutch off of him.
No. I mean, that's for people who don't know, that's how this is done.
I'm putting game to the city. You put a shame to the city. They know that mob in the streets. Walk like an angel's with me. Been on the 303 bus route. I give a fuck with the fuss bout. Family is all that I trust now. Pick up the pack when I touch down. Using my EBT credit. Shopper was never a fetish. Cover for all of my family, we fill up the van if it's necessary. Nobody care about lyrics, that type of shit just offend me. Content too complex for you fuckboys out here trying to tempt me already. I'm getting DM with hearts now, I'm getting DM with links now. Digging the side of the beach now, better be holding your tongue. I practice freedom of speech now, growing up had to be brave. I'm at the part with the fade, gotta have heart in the O and pay thousand for them to initiate your grave. Reflecting my time as a preteen, you bitches acting like preteens. I was a G in my preteens, couldn't see me in my preteens. Reflecting my time as a preteen, you bitches acting like preteens. I was a G in my preteens, couldn't see me in my preteens. Reflecting my time as a preteen, you bitches acting like preteens. I was a G in my preteens, couldn't see me in my preteens. Reflecting my time as a preteen, you bitches acting like preteens. I was a G in my preteens, couldn't see me in my preteens. Tryna get my shit amplified, cause every so American like apple pie. No culture, don't know, grab a brochure. Listen up, come closer. Fuck talk about somebody you ain't nobody know, because it came from the bottom, from the soul I grow. In the neighborhood I'm raised, so for them I flow. Now I'm getting X and O's like tic-tac-toe, and put a record on repeat to get a freak in the flow. I'm low-key pushing lyrics and OZs. You better OD with ideas you don't need to put an OE. Had the city on much hype. My homies just a whip like your mama the groceries. You really just a bitch and I can tell by your blood type. A preteen, born thugs that we sing. Walking on string, thin line to be seen. A target. Go ahead and mark us how you see us. I ramen noodles and peanut butter to tears, I tell you. Growing up had to be brave. I'm at the part with the fade. Gotta have heart in the O and pay thousand for them to initiate your grave. Reflecting my time as a preteen, you bitches acting like preteens. I was a G in my preteens, couldn't see me in my preteens. Reflecting my time as a preteen, you bitches acting like preteens. I was a G in my preteens, couldn't see me in my preteens. Reflecting my time as a preteen, you bitches acting like preteens. I was a G in my preteens, couldn't see me in my preteens. Reflecting my time as a preteen, you bitches acting like preteens. I was a G in my preteens, couldn't see me in my preteens.
What was the plan? Like, what was that? Like, how were you going to meet him?
I just said, well, you know what? Like, I'm just going to hit him up on see if he has a SoundCloud. And because that's how I hit up any artist that I was working with at the time. Because for artists, SoundCloud was becoming a pretty cool platform for the artist. You know, not maybe so much for the listener, but for the artist, it was working out.
It's almost like the social network that you choose to contact people through sets the stage for what you're reaching them out.
Yeah, it sets the tone. It does.
So like, I could be friends with the same girl on Facebook, but if I see her on OkCupid and I reach out, that's like we're already like laying it out that I'm coming after you.
Yeah, well, you know,
like on Facebook, it's not the same thing. If I
that's an actual marketing thing, though, right? Like they're being different on every platform. It's a practice right now.
The girls being different on
platform? No, you being acting different on every platform you do. Like if you Snapchat, should be a different energy than your Instagram. Should be a different energy. That's a normal business tactic right now.
So SoundCloud is like where I'm going to reach out to somebody if I'm looking for a beat. Like,
it's like one of the best communities for
sure.
For free. If you want to try and get something for free, because SoundClick is still popping. I don't know if people really know it, but I mean, there's guys on there that make a lot of money off of selling the beats from leasing their stuff. But yeah, SoundCloud is a really good platform. Right. So that's how I had reached out to him on there. I just figured I'm not really afraid to contact people because it's a message, you know. It's not going to kill me if they don't respond.
You've had worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I sent him a message and I didn't hear anything back. Probably for like a good month or two.
What an asshole.
Yeah. And I figured, it's a typical, like, he's got a lot going on. He doesn't want to really venture out right now to other avenues. And he hit me back up and he's just kind of apologized. He said, "Yo, like I don't check this thing ever. Like my bad." Like
after we just went off about how awesome SoundCloud is.
He sent me his number and he told me to link up with him, and because I told him, you know, I was not that far away. I'm here in Oceanside. I didn't know exactly where he lived at the time, but I ended up texting him and we linked up. He came over and
I know you had to have your heat ready for him.
Yeah. I kind of showed him because I'm the kind of person that doesn't put everything online. I don't really show everybody all the stuff I do because, like, I guess I'm from more of an old school way of thinking of like keep your your eggs in your basket. Don't give them out. Like keep them in your basket. Hold on to them.
Especially with your trajectory, you want to produce for people. when you put a beat out, it definitely ruins kind of the allure.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
It definitely can. It can really affect it in a way to where like people may not want to listen to the track after with someone's vocal on it.
Exactly.
But
so you had beats ready for him?
Yeah. I had a lot of stuff that I didn't put online, and because when he came over, he at the end of the day, he had mentioned to me, he's like, your stuff online isn't like all that good, because he's straight up. He'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Your stuff online wasn't that good, but this stuff is a lot better. Like, this stuff's like, he didn't say amazing, but he said he wanted to work at that point. So I really was excited at that point, because I had an artist potentially that I could build with and create something. And we ended up producing like, I think we made like 15 beats, and we made a project called Beyond Reach. And it's out on iTunes and everything. And I produced a majority of it, and Loudon had produced one track on it as well.
Yeah.
And we it was a really good growing stage for both of us. For him to possibly have a home engineer now, and for me to have a home artist that I can directly
and
put my
catching
stuff
him
out.
I mean, you definitely caught some fire with him for sure. Like, he was definitely starting to bubble already too.
Yeah, I mean, just knowing that George had sent me a video of him showed me that, okay,
he's at least on the radar.
Yeah, because the Cypher Effect, I mean, they're doing their thing definitely. And I was like, okay, like, I definitely need to work with this. I watched like I said, I watched a bunch of videos, and that's one tip from me. If you want to be good at what you're doing, utilize YouTube, because that'll. I'm a product of YouTube, like
YouTube University.
I've taught myself everything, because I'm very into that as well. But definitely use YouTube to your extent. But I watched a video on YouTube from I don't know if you guys know Gucci Mane's producer. Why am I having a brain fart?
Roscoe.
No.
Mr. Ross.
Roscoe's my dog. Zaytoven.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. So I watched a video, and he kind of mentioned one lane and one aspect to take in a way to make it in this career as a producer is to find an artist and build with that artist. And directly input all your work into that artist, because they'll value it way more than any other person will.
Right.
Because when you sell or lease, the person's just trying to put out a quick track, obviously, because they're not even trying to pay for the full thing.
Yeah. They have very little interest in actually working with the producer.
And selling beats nowadays, because of the technology, you just send it to the person, but you lose that connection. You lose that energy that you have potentially making something together.
Yeah.
So when I watched that, I was like, okay, this is what I need to find. I need to find somebody. And it kind of just all facilitated itself all at the same time, where I was watching that video, and then George had emailed me that, and George wanted to work with me, and then I contacted Desi, and now Desi had got back to me, and everything was kind of just exactly what Zaytoven had said. Just stick with this and just keep working, keep pushing, and something will come of it. Keep your head down and just work with somebody.
And so, how was your job within Mad Strange? How has it molded itself?
Yeah, so because originally, like, it was just supposed to be producing with Desi, and I wasn't even a part of Mad Strange in the beginning when Desi first got signed to Mad Strange.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like the homie at that point, making beats for Desi. And we were going to do a project together. And then after a while, I kind of thought, I was like, okay, well, I see Desi, I see Daniel, who's the one of the co-founder of Mad Strange with his brother. He's a videographer as well, and he does really good work. And I saw how hard they worked, and I know how hard I work, and I knew I wanted to be with a group of guys who worked just as hard as I did.
Yeah.
And we're straight up with each other, and we're real. Like, if they don't like something, they don't like something, and they'll say it to your face.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same way. If I don't like something, I'll just say it. Like, because we have to be understanding. I'm not going to be rude to you about it. I'm going to criticize something so that way it could potentially, be better.
Yeah.
So I just realized that it would be a great fit if I kind of linked up with them and we worked together and just created. I just became a part of Mad Strange and took over and producing and became their house producer and stuff like that. And I was venturing away from Wake the Flock Up at that time just because of the creative path that he was going in was just different than from what I wanted to do at the time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to expand and have more of a hand in what I was doing. Because at that time I was just doing, commercial songs and stuff like that for little stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I wanted a better hand, and Daniel and I and Desi had sat down and kind of just talked and told him, you know, let's work together. Let's do this. Like, I want to be a part of Mad Strange because I really appreciate like hard work.
Yeah.
It goes a long way, you know.
Yeah,
hard work.
and you're willing to match it.
Hard work does all the talk you ever need.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to really talk as long as you work hard.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of those conversations with artists that are like looking for ways to get connected in. I'm like, all your talk does not matter. I can tell you where to go and where to meet people. It does not matter. Like, start doing something.
Yeah.
Build a library, start a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, make an EP. Nobody gives a fuck about hearing what you have to say at this point if you don't have a body of work that you can show them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all one of the biggest things I've learned throughout the years in this business is you have to bring something to the table. And your best results are going to be when you bring something to the table that matches what somebody else is bringing or whoever you're going to collaborate
That
with.
missing link. That's what I think of it as.
That's basically all it is in every relationship. So far, that's been what it is. And I think that there's a certain mind state that sometimes takes offense to that way.
Yeah.
Because they're like, wait a minute, I should be enough.
No.
Or I have ideas.
I would say the majority of people take offense to that. That's why most people don't even start things unless they're getting a paycheck for it.
Right. Yeah.
That's why this lane that like you're in, for example, Jerry, was like most people would never even choose this lane.
Right.
Because you're going to have to do a fuck ton
That
of
was
work
going to be
for
my next
years.
question. Like
For nothing.
my next question.
Well, not for nothing, but for nothing in
Not for
return.
cash.
Yeah. It's
Not
a
for like
different-
physical cash.
Yeah. It's a different
Currency.
currency.
Yeah.
So my next question was literally going to be, why the fuck are you doing any of this? Like, does it?
Yeah, what are you, an idiot?
What is it? What is it about you that?
Possibly. No, I'm kidding.
Because we've talked about this a lot about this topic on the show about artists liking the struggle.
Masochists.
Being masochistic, and you seem like you could. If you just decided tomorrow, I hate music, I don't like it, I don't think you're going to, like, you probably wouldn't end up a homeless person. You know, you're probably going to be all right. You know, you may just find some other passion or something.
That's probably what would happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would focus my energy because I'm a hobby extremist as well. As I like to say, anything I ever get into, I go 150% into right off the bat. Mind you, financially being able to support that.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing with producing that kind of pushed me from not being able to progress as much, was because it costs a lot of money putting into this stuff, you know.
Sure.
And not making anything from it, it's a mind fuck.
Yes.
You know, it's like, okay, like I'm putting all this work in and I'm literally getting nothing of monetary value.
Yeah.
It really starts to make you think, okay, should I be doing this? But then at the end of the day, it goes back to that producing when I make a beat, that feeling I get now. And when I know something sounds great, because I've made so many tracks now at this point that, you know, I just know if something sounds horrible, or not necessarily horrible, but doesn't sound up to par. Versus when I get that feeling, okay, this is going to be something special.
So do you feel like you need it now?
Yeah, I do feel. I feel like I need that to fill that void. Is what I feel like I need to do to find that meditation.
Yeah.
I feel like I need that, and I found it in other hobbies in the past as well. But this one deems to be like the most
consistent.
Yeah, the most consistent, the most gratifying too that I've ever felt from anything.
So you're in this weird position now where you're part of a brand that is actively pushing forward. Things are all starting to fall into place. And is your mind shifting from, because you've had at least, you know, I like to call it a side hustle. Some people call it, you know, their plan B, whatever. You've had something paying bills for a while. Is your mind starting to examine the paths of, okay, this might be, if I take this path, when I'm not like working, and I'm using the quote signs too, working, I'm not getting paid in this world forever. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not putting out product constantly, I'm not getting paid. But there's a challenge of it too as well. And to me, it literally comes down to one thing for me all the time, is whether or not you believe in your shit. That's it. Anybody can throw out any other excuse. Either you believe in your shit or you don't.
Yeah.
Are you starting to examine a life off the beaten path, like, you know, a life of an artist. Are you ready for something like that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I've already done that, especially over the last year. I'm in that zone. I've been an artist more so mentally so much in the past year and a half with Desi, or 2 years with Desi. He really, like, I really have taken myself there artistically. It's kind of trippy, because before I was always trying to get to that point and trying to have, again, acceptance. You know, everybody likes to hear when something is going right for themselves. Right. Everyone likes to hear that a boy, you know, you're doing great. Like, keep that up.
Sure.
And I feed off of that, especially. So that kind of gave me the confidence when Desi was kind of accepting of what I was doing, and when Daniel wanted me to be a part of Mad Strange. It really, that in itself built up my confidence instantly. I was like, okay, these guys believe in me, so I believe in myself even more so now. And it really allowed me to create a lot faster, and my creative side has gone through the roof now, and I'm venturing into
more fearless.
And I'm not restricting myself either now. Like I love listening to all genres of music, but so much in hip hop. Like, I love listening to the, you know, not necessarily the Little Yachty's, but I love listening to like Travis Scott, and love listening to 21 Savage, actually. Mind you, maybe that's something ignorant of me, because I'm supporting a subgenre, if there are subgenres in hip hop, that isn't necessarily what hip hop wants. But
a lot of quotes in this section.
I'm sorry, I'm doing a lot of quotes. But I really
quoting off between these two.
No, I mean, it's definitely not. I mean, fuck them, what they want. Like, that's honestly, that's how I feel about it. I don't really give.
Music is music, and if it hits you in the right way, then just accept it for what it is, and just enjoy it while you're on the ride with it. And that's what I've realized lately. Like, I'm having more fun now making beats and engineering than I ever was in the past. More so because I'm not trying to follow someone else's, like, oh, you should make this kind of music. Like, now it's all my choice. It's been my choice in the past, but it was more so, again, I was trying to fit in more so than now. This is my sound.
Expressing yourself.
Here I am now. So and working with Desi has kind of created that for me, and being part of Mad Strange has made me be more confident in who I am.
Dude, and let's clarify, by the way, hip-hop doesn't want that. Some people in hip-hop want that.
Some people who claim to speak for hip-hop.
But hip-hop, I truly believe that. Dude, I just heard an amazing interview the other day with Run the JROLZ, who, you know, people know they're elder statesmen within hip-hop, but they're creating the most progressive music, arguably, right now. And they're like, dude, everything you said you bump, they bump. And they're like, wow, they don't even understand. You hear Killer Mike, like, really confused about, like, why he shouldn't like something that he's like, dude, the song that comes on the radio by Little Yachty is, and obviously, if you hear it, it's a hit. I mean, if you're just talking about constructing a song, it's like when I hear a fucking Katy Perry song. I just heard the new Katy Perry song, by the way, right? And I'm just like, okay, so they just have this machine that pumps out excellently executed pop songs.
I feel like in hip hop, you know, people feel like they need to, like, defend its honor kind of a way. Like, this is my theory. Like, okay, I'll bring it down to food. You know, I may love anchovies on my pizza, right?
What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
You're a horrible man.
But majority of people hate that. But we don't say that in society. We don't say, you know, we don't sit there and tell people that.
We don't go looking for people.
Anchovies. You like anchovies? That's wrong.
Anchovies.
I will personally go and tell you that is fucking wrong.
So why can't we have that same
pineapples?
Why can't we have that same theory in hip hop music? Because it is really, like,
it's still young.
Exactly.
There is an ownership belief in hip hop because I mean, I live hip hop every day. I do feel like an ownership to it. I'm just not greedy with it. But there is, I understand where the feeling comes from. And I'm not saying that's not legit. I know there's people who are like, dude, I gave him my all to this little part of hip hop, because that's what it is. And I know people hate to hear that. The 90s is a little part of hip hop. It's
the golden
era. Speck in what hip hop will be.
Yeah.
Like, it's so ignorant for us to think that this one level would define the rest of hip hop. That's so arrogant.
Well, it's the mistake. It's the same mistaken thinking and thought process that I think I see with like the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, people look at the internet and say like, well, it's on the internet, and it's like they describe it as if it's like a calculator,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not.
Yeah, it's a toy.
Yeah,
it's like a toy right now.
Right. Well, here's the thing. The internet, like hip hop, is another layer of human consciousness.
Yeah.
It's just that hip hop was a layer of human consciousness that we didn't discover until more recently. So we're treating it like the internet. We're like, it was on the internet, you know, like my internet website, which is like different than like your actual reality or something. But that's all of that is going to go away.
Yeah.
Give it, I predict another decade.
Oh, no. Yeah. And you and I have we've laughed about this. Like, in the race of how long your argument's gonna last to say the argument of like just be open and like what you like, it's gonna lose.
Yeah.
Like it lost from the moment the thought came into place, because those people are going to go away. They're not going to be able to keep up the battle of let's take it back to the old school. Like
it's people that think that hip hop is a brand.
Yeah,
it's not a brand. It's an international
movement.
movement.
It's a living thing.
Yeah,
it's an ever-changing living thing.
It doesn't even stop at music.
No,
it's another layer.
First of all, music
reality.
is one element of hip hop.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and it's the cockiest, most shit-talking element of hip hop.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is, and because of that, I get it. I'm not telling people they shouldn't complain. They shouldn't. I like the passion. Fuck yeah, have those conversations all fucking day. However, if we're going to talk about something logical, you start to lose me, because if you're like, no, it should only be. Anytime you're like, it should only. If you start with that, it's already over. I already know you lost your argument, because nothing is only going to stay a certain way forever. Right. Nothing.
If you're having fun with it, like you're just throwing the ball around.
Yeah.
Versus if you fully believe it, you know, and like hardcore, like I'm gonna shoot people for this.
I love the top 10 arguments that we've had. I love all that stuff. I love when my boy Khalid just goes off because he's such a hip hop head.
Yeah.
I love that fucking passion.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about, again, what's good for us as a people, what's good for music, it's progress.
Advancement.
Yeah, that's all there is. That's all it's about.
Anytime that you like bottleneck anything, it dies.
Yeah.
You know, it dies off. So
absolutely.
That's what unfortunately the older heads have to realize, that you can't just only make this one type. You have to let people venture into other sides of things, because that's what life is. Mm-hmm. Like we all want to venture into different avenues.
Yeah.
All throughout our life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they have to
it would be
accepting.
boring. What would be the point?
Yeah, but like you said, it is very interesting to see the people who are so passionate, because I respect that in the same aspect.
Yeah.
Like you love hip hop to the extreme, which is great. And I'll bring up some Concept is a perfect example of that. You know, he loves hip hop to the extreme, but that golden era, it's all about that golden era. But that's because he's from the golden era. I mean, that's what he grew up on, and you don't ever hear that people.
Arash said, because I know he's going to hit this point exactly. Arash said on the show, what did you say? They're defending a great part of their life, not necessarily music.
Yeah,
they're defending like this part of their life that was really great and fun, and that was the best time. Because it might have been. I'm going to tell you right now is the best time for me. Yeah. And the people who kind of think like that, to me, the people that are like, right now is my best time, tomorrow is my best time, they all seem happier, and they like everything.
Yeah.
Because everything's new.
Do you love it unconditionally?
What?
Like in anything? Like, do you love it unconditionally?
No, I don't love anything unconditionally. I love everything on condition that it's good.
Well, an example I was going to say is like you're a child, for example. Your child may grow to follow a path that is not what you want to follow.
Yeah.
It's not like...
I'm so not a dad.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, fuck that little motherfucker.
I know.
I'll throw him out.
I know.
No, but yeah, I understand.
But that's the difference. Yeah. Is like, is your kid, you know, are you going to throw your kid out of the house because your kid comes out, for example? Yeah, a lot of people do.
There's some families,
Yeah. A lot of families do. I'm like, then that's not real love.
Hold up, because I think what you said is very important.
You love
something,
I think let it go.
Very hard for people to make that jump. I know there's probably people that just... Went, wow, what did he say? He's comparing coming out to like being a traditionalist in hip hop. But dude, that's super insightful. Like, think about if you're along that way of thinking of like, this person should not be different, because that's all you're saying, right?
Yeah.
If you're a rap fan, you live in the rap world, you do hip hop things and you're like, hip hop should only be this way. You're trying to control people at the maximum on a thing that should not ever be controlled. To me, the reason I can't get myself to ever do that is, for one thing, is to me it's like a sin. It's like it's blasphemy.
You lose
for
your
me to
artistic
try to
drive when you get controlled. Like, you see all these artists, as soon as they get signed, and a lot of them don't make it very far because they're being controlled now by a label.
Yeah,
they don't have their artistic
because the fire
anymore.
goes out.
Yeah. This, you're gonna make this way. You're gonna do this thing, and that same thing could happen if you know, people allow that. If you try to control it and say you have to make music like the golden era, which I love still. I love that music.
Yes.
It's amazing music too of its time.
Right.
And still people make it current today with
make it really well.
Yeah, and they do a great job at it. But if you keep bottlenecking and restricting, who wants to listen to the same thing over and over? No offense, but
I think progress excites me. That is my driving force, is progress. I love progress. So I understand why I wouldn't want to hear that. But I also, I have friends who love oldies.
Yeah.
Like they literally they weren't even born, but they love oldies. They dress like they're in the old. We went to a party the other day, remember, where everybody's kind of, and they were into it. And they had pride for it and they loved it. I love that, because to me, they're just nerding out. Yeah. I understand the nerding out, but if we're at the fucking next Avengers movie and someone stands up and goes, that shade of Spider-Man is off, and just starts socking people for liking that shade of Spider-Man, we're in a big trouble.
Yeah.
So why would that make sense to do that kind of stuff
really
in
ruined
hip
my
hop,
Marvel experience.
in music? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, again, a conversation that will never end. It will go on forever, and that's fine. I think it's awesome. And I can hear you carving out your sound. You know what I mean? It's obvious in your music that you're carving out a distinct sound, and I think that's very dope. You've worked with some of our good friends, and it's amazing to see. I met you at I believe it was Concept's birthday party a few years ago.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember meeting you there, and for some reason, I've never really lost contact with you over the last few years, and to see your growth into where you're at right now, it's very dope. I described you when I first met you with the one phrase that I think is the only thing that's important, is I told Arash he seems like a really good dude. And that was like, to me, that
Appreciate it.
I hadn't even heard anything yet. And then I started to see.
He also said you fart a lot.
Yeah. But you weren't supposed to say that, man.
Sorry.
Yeah. Arash is practicing this honesty thing.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think that it's awesome to see your growth. It's awesome to see the moves you're making. And it's a testament to working hard. Because I would say this, I have to say this. I want people to understand this lesson, because this is so important to me, especially the fact that you're on the show now. You're on the show. We play your music on Proof of Life Radio, The Up on Fridays. Your stuff is getting played, 2Mex Hologram Radio. But when you first approached me to be on the show, you weren't ready.
Yeah.
You just weren't ready. There
No,
wasn't.
definitely.
And I've told people this so many times, like, dude, just wait. Trust me. I want this show to help you. It's not going to help you if you don't have anything that you're building towards. If you, like you said, you found your sound even more recently, that's when it's time to tell everybody.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, dude, I think it's amazing, and it's an honor for me to tell everybody about you. It's really dope, because I like to see people just stay at it. Because you could have just been like, fuck it. I mean, which, by the way, was never your answer. You were just like, okay, I'll wait for the next opportunity.
Yeah.
Check in again. Hey, I'll wait for the next
And I
opportunity.
think I do, like, every 6 months I would check in, just
Yeah.
hey, how you doing? Kind of a
dude,
thing.
but this is what you did for yourself, and this is major props to yourself, bro. You made it undeniable. It wasn't undeniable at the beginning. At the beginning, I'm like, well, this could go either way. We could put you on, but what if not? What if
Nothing comes from
because I know that the game just isn't played that way. It wasn't enough for you to just be good. You had to make the moves.
Yeah.
You had to get out of the studio and go do other stuff and learn how this works. Learn what you don't like, where you don't want to be. And it's I think it's amazing. Like I said, it's major props to you. And for people listening who who've been in the same position. There's people right now that are in the same position you were 2 years ago, and they need to understand that you win if you don't quit.
Yeah, I needed those failing moments.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, within the past 2 years
Yeah.
of just or even longer. I don't even know how long it was 2 years ago or something. Yeah,
Something like that.
I definitely needed it because it's made me who I am, and now I can handle a lot of things that I couldn't handle at that
Yeah.
time. I handled myself very well at
Yeah.
the time because I knew as well that I wasn't there professionally yet at the time as well.
Yeah.
I was with a group of people and we were all trying to communicatively put in, but
Right,
it's
right.
kind of like
There's a difference.
You got a name here.
Right.
This is what you are versus now it's a collective. We actually are working. We're putting in a lot of work and it speaks for itself. And that's kind of
Absolutely.
what my slogan's been now is that, investment is number one. You have to invest in yourself.
Yep.
You can't give up on yourself.
Yep.
You have to know that everybody wants to give up on themselves, that you're not the only one on the boat.
Yeah.
And number three is just keep working.
Yeah.
Keep working. Work as hard as you can. Put in as much time as you can. If you have a 15-minute break at work, watch videos on something.
Yes.
You may not retain it right off the bat, but if you watch that video a couple
Yeah.
times during the week, you'll start retaining information. And you'll start remembering things.
It's that age-old thing we've always talked about is you are whatever you do the most.
Yeah.
Whatever you do the most in your life, that is what you are. That's what you're creating in your life. It's undeniable.
Yeah.
So whatever your mind is going through, like Arash, driving up here, Arash and I are having like a business meeting. He's talking to me about a bunch of stuff he's doing. He's moving the stuff. It doesn't go away. It doesn't turn off. He'll
always
be
active.
somewhere. You be somewhere grabbing a drink, and then it pops up like, "Oh, here's what's happening on Burner Podcast." And by the way, here's this. Oh, you do that? Oh, yeah. You don't go like, "Well, hey, I'm drinking right now. I don't fucking."
No.
You know what I mean? There's huge opportunities in front
Probably
of me.
even more so outgoing than
Yeah,
drinking.
absolutely.
Look what I just did.
Don't ask me math questions if I want to whip it. Though.
Yeah.
That's the only
Call
thing to
Eddie.
say. Yeah.
Call Eddie.
We'll talk to me
Can
right
I
now.
phone a friend, please?
Do I get a lifeline?
Dude, thank you so much for being on the show. And people have been hearing your music throughout this episode, so I know you guys know what's up already. Check out everything that Mad Strange is doing. Check out JROLZ. Dude, tell them how to get in touch with you online if they need to.
Everything, all my social media is at JROLZ did it. JROLZDIDIT.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and
Good
if
marketing.
people want to approach you for music, let them know the easiest and most appropriate way to do that, because I don't want you to get a bunch of fucking emails of people like, yo, I'm next, son. Yo, son.
Right. SoundCloud. Honestly, I'm a very active user on SoundCloud, more active than I feel like a large part of the community.
Good.
But SoundCloud, if you want to message me, feel free. I am very busy with engineering, especially now, more so than making beats. But I'm always making something. I'm always working on something. So hit me up because I'm always down to listen to music too.
That's dope.
I love listening to people's stuff.
And that's
whether
how it
you're good
starts,
or
by
not
the
good,
way.
yeah.
That's how it starts.
Yeah, don't be afraid to but also know that there's going to be criticism. Like there's going to be professional criticism coming back from you. So
By the way, there's companies that pay people to come in and tell them what they're doing wrong.
And you're getting it for free.
You're getting it for free. You know what I mean? As long as he doesn't call you a pussy after, be happy with it.
It's like some of the funny criticism. Like, is this meant to not have any kicks?
Yeah, those are some examples. Give us some more examples he might give you.
There's nothing but snares in this song. Literally,
more cowbell, please.
more cowbell.
Is this English? This is actually in English.
Did you just send me an instrumental from a Lady Gaga song?
All possibilities, but stick at it. It's a dope thing, man. He's proof. Finally, it's really super dope to me to have someone to come through the show that is 100% proof of what we've been talking about the entire time. Dude, I expect a great year from you guys. Shout out to Desi. Come. He needs to get on the show.
Yeah,
We've
I
been
will.
chasing him for a minute.
He was actually trying to make it by today.
Yeah.
But he ended up having like a doctor's appointment or something.
Fucking Desi.
Health, yeah.
Typical excuse.
Typical. He's always at the
God,
doctor.
so hip hop.
Dude, thank you so much,
Thank you
brother.
guys. Appreciate it.
You may now flush the toilet.
platformcollection.com.